This episode brought to you by the following patrons: Heather, Min, Jason, Madeline, Laura, Jeremy with the laser eyes, Allie, Kristen, and Tia. And all the patrons want you to know you're loved, you're listened to, and you're a valuable member of this awesome Horror Virgin community. And if you want to hang out with us, do so in the subreddit or the Facebook group, where we'll be hanging out having chats daily.
These dudes are like, I can make this sword in my garage and I can take it into battle and I'd be unstoppable. And then they get to this obstacle course and they're like, you have to cut through ice, and the sword just immediately fails.
I love that they failed just like the bad character from Karate Kid 2 failed cutting through the ice.
Ah, yes!
How's that for an ice pull?
All I gotta say is, fuck ice, though. Like, fuck ice.
Fully. I don't even like it in my fountain drinks when I go to like restaurants and stuff. I'm just like, no ice, because you'll have to come back a lot.
Let me show you my nails right now.
Her nails say Diet Coke, guys.
But then they also say no ice.
They do. Her nails are my drink order at Las Palmas.
There you go. Thank you for tuning into Horror Virgin. I'm Paige.
And I'm your Horror Virgin Todd, which means I don't like scary movies and you guys make me watch them. And this week, as we continue our kind of new release month, although it's mainly like what movies did we not see in 2025, you know, because we were busy doing movies with resurrected dogs named Zoe.
Exactly.
And that led us to this movie, which was 28 years later. So, Paige, this is the first time you saw it?
No. I saw this a few months ago.
Okay, this was the first time I saw it. What did you think about it when you saw it?
I have what is probably a controversial viewpoint on this.
Oh, thank God. Okay, please tell me everything.
So, people have mixed reviews on this.
Oh, do they? I got the vibe that this was like loved.
No.
Okay.
No. My controversial opinion is that I understand it and am optimistic for the future ones. I don't necessarily love this one, if that makes sense.
I was really worried coming into this episode because I have some feelings about this that are not all positive.
Sure.
Although I do think it like could set up a really cool next two movies.
Yes, that's where I'm at, because some people loved it and I understand really liking this movie. There is a lot to like here. No judgment there.
I don't disagree with that either.
I do think that for a lot of the people that disliked this movie, I think they were expecting a very specific kind of movie, and this is not that. I think they were expecting literally a third in the trilogy that is very similar to the previous two.
Yeah. So they were expecting 28 years later, but what they got was 28 tears later, Paige.
Oh, I did cry a lot.
Me too.
Look, I'm just accepting that I'm in a crying season. Whether it's this, whether it's Heated Rivalry episode 5, it doesn't matter. I'm going to cry a bunch. I kind of almost wish they had made a 28 years later and then made this and then the subsequent two that they're making, because I feel like this is truly set up for another story in the same world. Does that make sense? And I know that's what 2 is too.
It is a completely seemingly unrelated story to any of the people we've seen in the other ones. So yeah, I mean, I agree, but they're all obviously could be all tied together through the next movies, right? So like, they probably are some way connected. We just don't know yet.
Yes. That is the same in 28 Weeks Later as well. Is 100%. Different characters, right?
Yes.
So like there is a precedent for that.
Yeah, I was expecting that. Yeah.
But what I actually really like about this movie is I feel like there's two different ways to do zombie movies. One is Outbreak Day or a later outbreak or whatever, where it's chaos, it's fast, it's tense. People are in imminent risk of death trying to survive immediately. And then there's the kind of zombie movie that's like, it happened, and now let's take a look at what happens to people when they're forced to start over.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. I don't hate that. I actually really, really like that, especially because it lives within the lore of those movies of like, okay, we shut off this island, we quarantined this, like, and this is just kind of how people have learned to survive after.
Yeah.
And what the 3 movies of this new trilogy are supposed to do is to see multiple different groups and how they have functioned and survived over time. I really like that. I like the mythology of the Bone Temple. I like Jimmy and his childhood murderous friends that I think we're getting in the next movie. I love the town and their rules.
I love the town too. Man, and the causeway of it all. And
yes.
the fact that he was like, I don't know if he won, but definitely a nominee for worst dad ever.
Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Like when he was like, line up the gates because the water was too high to see the walkway. I really liked that he
Right.
It's clear that was like super well thought out for like what the language would be like for people that have lived there their entire life, So I really liked that a lot. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. My biggest problem with this movie, and I think we'll see it as we talk through it, is that not much happens. It is paced bonkers, right?
Yeah.
Like, this movie is 40 minutes longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But all of the information and story we get in it is great. It's just so long. And a lot of it is like establishing, and I know that is hardcore world building.
Yeah, and I think it's probably going to be important for the next two movies. Yeah, that's why I'm not mad it's in there, but it does, I think, mess with the pacing of this one, It
messes with the pacing a little bit. That's my biggest complaint about the movie. Everything else, I'm kind of here for, but because it's paced a little wonky, and because you kind of like get the story and it really is the beginning of the story. This is almost like the first act of what that trilogy will be. So at the end of this movie, I'm kind of like, all right, show me the next one. I'm not necessarily going back to rewatch this one a bunch until we see the next two and I go back and watch it for Easter eggs.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at.
And I bet there are some in there,
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. I really only have one note for this movie, and that note is pants.
Oh, what about pants? Oh, that you wish someone was wearing them.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't see the floppage.
Paige. It's because they look so fake already, like they're bouncing around like rubber hoses, not like a dick would, I don't know. It just makes it more comical to me than anything else.
Yes. Well, and I'll burn a fun fact. It is a prosthetic. They did talk about that.
Yeah, no shit, it's a prosthetic. It's bouncing around like it's like so fake. It's very funny.
Bouncing around. Yes, 100%. And I mean, I feel like there are some things in this movie that are a result of like, this is what people would do.
Oh.
Like, this is the reality of what this would be like.
And I get that.
And that's one of them.
Yeah.
But then they show it a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, they really do. Which it doesn't bother me like from a, oh my God, I'm scandalized standpoint. I was just laughing every time it happened.
Yeah.
And they want me to be scared, but I'm like, that ain't a dick. Like I'm just like laughing at that, So this movie is not super high on the scary scale because I got a dick joke every 7 minutes or whatever from Joe Rogan or whatever they call the alpha in this. It's so funny to me because he has hair, Paige. I see you processing that.
I'm with you.
It works. Anyway, this movie also proves 12-year-olds as like a genre of people are stupid. They're always taking defenseless women out into the mainland so a doctor, quote unquote, can cure their moms of whatever cancer she's got.
Yeah.
Like, stop it, guys. That's so dumb.
I mean, we'll talk about it as we go through. Yes, he is foolish and naive.
Yes.
But there are things about the mom's story that, like, on a second watch through, gave me a little bit more empathy for the other people in the mom's life. Not the dad, but like the other people around her and how they're managing her and kind of dealing with their own grief around it. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next movie when he falls in league with Jimmy. Like, if they have another tracksuit for him. I'm just excited for Remick the vampire to show him how to kill zombies.
I mean, we'll see, I suppose.
We'll see.
Yeah. But this movie did make me sad as an American because, like, in the UK, they have so many castles. Roustabouts can just, like, hang out in one for a night.
Right.
And, like, we don't even have one off a Disney property in this country. Like, it just made me sad.
I feel like you could find a medieval times and break in after hours, but I don't think that'll be the experience you want.
No, I don't want the Blue Knight trying to fuck my girlfriend.
Not again.
That is a reference to, like, Romance in the Pod Runner. That is not, no one here has the context for it. Unless you're listening to both, which you should. Anyway, I did think it was funny that the Swedish soldier that, like, shows up, like, was dating the lady gremlin. I was like, oh, that's so funny.
Oh, I had forgotten about that part. I remembered that he had the very stereotypical, like, I got a girl back home, and you're like, he's gonna die. But then I had forgotten that when he shows the girl back home, the kid's like, what's wrong with her face? Oh, there's a girl in the village with a shellfish allergy. That's kind of like that. And
yeah, she does that. That happens to her face all the time. Yeah.
Hilarious.
I mean, if you just like cropped just her out and changed the tint of the color of her skin to green, she would look like the Lady Gremlin. Like, that's how.
She's in like a Lady Gremlin pose too. Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was really funny.
I'm like 90% sure that photo is not of a real person and is heavily photoshopped to be somewhat extreme.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's on purpose because they want to make that joke and obviously the social commentary they're wanting to make.
Right.
But I found it very funny.
Yes.
I also thought it was a huge dick move that the doctor drugged Spike so he was like in kind of a dream state so that he's going to wake up in the morning being like, oh man, I got to tell my very alive mom this crazy dream I just had. And then the doctor having to explain, no, see the top of that bone mountain? That's your mom's skull.
Yes.
You kissed that last night. You're gross, man. I love it. Let's go. Let's party.
Alas, poor Yorick, you were yeeted out of your mind.
I also feel like the doctor character's not flushed out enough. And I'm really hoping that in the second one, we get more of him.
Yes.
And they show that this is not where he lives. Because no, he does not live here. Like, there's no way this is where he lives. Because it's just a bone art project he's been doing for 30 years, which I don't hate. I kind of love the mythology of all that.
Right.
But he has spent zero time worried about his safety or how he's going to survive because the only place they show he can live there is like, I don't know, it's a room that's like not big enough to stand up in because they're laying down in it more or less. And it's just got like a grate over it that Joe Rogan can punch through and pick up the doctor. Like, there's no way he would have been able to live there.
No, I don't think he does.
So if that's where he lives, no.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think he does. The next movie is called The Bone Temple. So I feel like this was just to give us like a little sprinkle of like introduction, and then the next movie will go, I think, a lot more into his story.
Good.
As well as others. We know we also get some of Jimmy's story because I have seen the trailers and whatever. But I think we're going to get a lot around the Bone Temple. I think for me, at a certain point, I am now curious along the good-evil binary, which I know there's no way that this movie is going to put people in even camps, right? Like, these movies exist in gray area. I'm curious about where his gray area lies, right? This movie, I think, presents him very favorably, where he is trying to ease people into death, but also track and memorialize the amount of death they have experienced on this island because of this disease. Like, those are very sympathetic things. But everything else everyone else has said about him, and he lives separately from everybody else, I'm like, there's more to the story. Why is he not really welcome with everyone else? Now, I know there's part of this that's like, he has chosen to live separately to try and analyze the disease and see what works, what doesn't. That's why he's covered in iodine. But
for science, Paige.
Exactly. But then I'm like, what did you do for science, right? Like, what'd you do?
Paige, I hear what you're saying, and it's very much, there's no way the doctor's not having sex with the bone pile. And I agree. I definitely think he's having sex with the bone pile. I think that's what we're going to find out in this. No, I don't know what it is, but I agree. There's definitely going to be something that has othered him, because the story we get in this movie is we walked up on this doctor guy and he was burning the bodies, so they definitely can't come back as zombies anymore. And that scared us. So for 15 years, we've avoided him.
Right.
So it's literally the dumbest story that I've ever heard about that. Like, he even, like, non-violently, like, hey, come on down. Like, let's chat. Like, I'd love to meet you guys or whatever.
Right.
While I'm doing this very believably obvious thing we should do in a zombie apocalypse.
Which wouldn't they also be doing in the town? I'm like, how is the town disposing of their dead? They have to be burning them, right?
It would be a version of it, yeah.
Right.
So, like, the fact that that's the story we get in this is the dumbest explanation, which I don't think is the actual explanation. I think there is going to be
I think there's something else, yeah.
Because I do think we heard that from a dad who was talking to a 12-year-old kid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we got the 12-year-old kid appropriate version of the story.
Exactly.
There has to have been that other thing that othered the doctor that he's just not telling that kid. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I thought, at least.
I think it's experimentation, and the question is, where's the ethical line? And like that, I think we'll get in the next movie.
And I do think that at the end of this movie, when Jimmy comes out, we should have seen the doctor again reveal his philosophy of what he's going to do during the zombie apocalypse with a parody of Vanilla Ice, when he says, if there's a problem, you'll all solve it. Check out this hook while Jimmy revolves it.
Right.
I did think the end of this movie was dumb. I'm going to be honest with you. When it goes from Danny Boyle, serious, great movie vibes. Like, I generally like Danny Boyle.
Sure.
And then it goes, honestly, Paige, it felt like Danny Boyle was like, I don't want to do the last 3 minutes. Let me call The Lonely Island and let them produce it.
Here's what I think part of the problem with that is. I think the Teletubby cold open is incredible. Right? That's what we expect from a 28 whatever years, days, weeks later movie.
I thought it was ballsy for Danny Boyle to start the movie off with the scariest scene, which was, oh my God, people watched Teletubbies?
They absolutely did.
I know.
So much.
Such a strange show.
It is a strange show with like the tubby custard and weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think they felt like they needed to set characters up for the next movie, and that's why.
Oh, Jimmy will definitely be in the next movie. I'm kind of looking forward to it, honestly.
But also, that hanging dead body has Jimmy's signature on it. So, like, I feel like they thought in this movie they were setting this up to be like, yeah, Jimmy's funny, but like, Jimmy's fucking dangerous. And I feel like you either needed to do a little bit more or save it for the next movie and set all of it up in the next movie. But then I feel like if you set it all up in the next movie, then it feels like the next movie is Jumping the Shark and Goofy if you don't sprinkle it in here. I understand why they did it. I am intrigued about Jimmy, but I would have probably liked a little more sprinkle of how dangerous Jimmy is to counteract the campiness of Jimmy at the end, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like they are circus performers that don't take anything seriously, which may be the case, but I laughed. I don't know if that's the reaction that I was supposed to have, but I was like laughing at the movie for doing that.
I think you're allowed to. I think that is part of it. From what I have heard, and grain of salt.
Right.
I have heard that Jimmy and his cohort, if we want to call them that, are essentially a group of children that were orphaned but survived and have kind of grown up in like almost like a Lost Boys kind of a vibe.
Hell yeah.
Based on the TV shows and stuff they were watching. And that's why this is what we get with Jimmy. I kind of love that. I really kind of love that.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
If Jimmy is just like more violent Rufio, and I'm here for it.
Same. And Paige, I am also here for us going through this movie scene by scene.
Let's do it. As we mentioned, we open on Teletubbies. Like their creepy son that laughs because it has a baby face.
Yeah, it's a strange show.
It is a strange show. Not quite as strange as the reels I like to watch where they overlay the theme to Teletubbies and then just put costumes on chihuahuas that are just like, and it's like Tinky Winky. It cracks me up. I'll post them if I find them. Whatever. We see that this is taking place in the Scottish Highlands. There's a group of children, like 6 or 7 children, all watching Teletubbies, and you can clearly kind of see in the background, their parents have locked them in a room to have them watch TV as their parents are figuring out what to do with the infected outside, which is a very scary thought. I mean, it's kind of like when Jim and Pam talk about like, you're distracting the kids in the boat, even though the boat is sinking and we're all going to die, but you're just distracting them so they don't realize it. That's what's going on.
100% that's what's going on. Yeah. Because they are all about to die, but instead these kids are watching Teletubbies.
Right. And so an infected breaks in, they break through the door, their parents are going after them. This one kid, Jimmy, makes a run for it to the church, runs into his father, who is some sort of pastor, minister, priest, whatever. And the father is like, it's Judgment Day. Let's fucking go. Eat me alive. That kid manages to hide in like a trap door underneath the floor, but watches as his father is brutally infected and barfing blood and like all the classic 28 days stuff.
The fast zombies of it all. Yeah. But the dad does give Jimmy a huge like cross, and we see that later, and that's how you know that's old Jimmy, right? Not old, but older Jimmy, right?
Right.
I did think it was funny that like this movie proves in order to get people back to church, all you have to do is provide 90s rapper level bling and food. And the mindless zombies will come running, Paige.
Look.
And that's exactly what happens in this movie. I loved that.
Count me into potlucks.
Paige, same. I am a victim of this myself. I grew up going to so many church functions because, oh, it's an ice cream social? Okay. You know, like stuff like that. 100%. It works.
Can I tell you one of the best compliments I literally got like 2 days ago? So I just got a new tattoo. It's a can of Diet Coke. Don't worry about it. And as it was being tattooed, The artist who was at my birthday where I made funeral potatoes and I would just potluck food or whatever.
Yeah.
As she's tattooing the Diet Coke on me, she's like, I still think about those potatoes. And I was like, that's right. I'll send you the recipe.
Yeah. It's because they're buried in a graveyard for 6 days before you cook them.
Yes.
That you call them funeral potatoes.
That's how you get that earthy flavor,
Yeah.
not truffle salt. You got to bury them with grave dirt.
Right. I learned that from Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. Great cook.
Have you ever had an Edgar Allan Poe boy? All right, we got to move on.
I have, but raven meat, kind of stringy.
It's Chesapeake shrimp, Paige.
What kind of sandwich do you want? I don't know. Listen to the walls. Which is it calling out to you?
All right. We got to get back on track.
Anyway, we then cut to a title card that's basically like, hey, the UK fell, but we drove them back from mainland Europe. That's their way to explain away 28 weeks later where it looks like they crossed the shuttle into France.
Well, I think it addresses that, but we don't get that movie, right? That yes, they did infect, but we pushed back because we knew it was coming kind of a thing, and they didn't get a foothold.
Right.
Yeah.
The UK was quarantined for containment, and everyone was left to fend for themselves 28 years later. We go to the island, and this is where we see Aaron Taylor Johnson, and we get kind of a montage of like everyone working around the community, and it is very pastoral, very kind of, you know, cute old village, but then you also get like some of their like teachings at the school and some of the more weird religious elements that we don't dig into in this movie at all. But like I anticipate will probably be a thing in the next movie with like the weird mask and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, because that never comes back really.
It never comes back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It never comes back. But it's very, have you seen, my brain is saying Polar Express, and that is not the one with the train where everyone, it's the end of the world and they're on a train.
Snowpiercer. Yes, I've seen Snowpiercer. Yeah.
Polar Express, Snowpiercer, two very different movies.
Yeah, one's a good movie and one's Snowpiercer.
I heard the show was better, but I didn't watch it. Anyway.
The show is better because it has more time to go into the themes that Snowpiercer pretends to talk about. Yes.
Sure. I fully believe that. But in Snowpiercer, there's that very weird scene where you're in the school car and they're like, what do we say? The train! And it's like all the kids. This village has those vibes.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, some sinister, right? We can already see the pieces of their lore to keep everyone in check.
Yeah. I mean, and they have a very clear set of rules, especially around the gate and the causeway and all that stuff. Yeah. You'd have to.
You'd have to. But we cut to Aaron Taylor Johnson's house with his son Spike. Spike will be our main character for the bulk of the movie. They get bacon, which is fun.
Yeah, bacon's delicious.
It's a rarity.
I also think they do that because it's like the closest to what the body horror meat would look like, if that makes sense. There's even one shot when he gives it to his mom where it's like,
it looks not good. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very uncooked, which I think that's the point. So yeah, I like it. I also like bacon. So yeah, let's go.
Right.
I like bacon so much, Paige, I wouldn't turn down a piece of turkey bacon.
I love turkey bacon.
You know what I'm saying? It's great.
Here's the thing. I like regular bacon too. I eat turkey bacon because I like the texture. And if that's not the weirdest neurodivergent thing ever, it is. That's my spiciest thing.
I'm a very texture-based eater too, Paige. That's why I don't eat most seafood.
Yeah.
It's not because of the taste. It's because of the slime factor.
It's because it tastes like styrofoam.
Well, it's not because of the styrofoam taste. It's because of like the sliminess of it a lot.
But the crunch of styrofoam.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know what the styrofoam tastes like, guys, but I definitely know what styrofoam tastes like. There's a shameful personal reveal there.
But you know what I'm talking. It's the squeaky, it's the crunch, it's the styrofoam crunch. It's like a packing peanut.
Yeah, not a fan. But it's a me problem.
And everyone's like, no, you just haven't had good shellfish. I was like, no, I have, and I have eaten it regardless because I want the buttery garlic stuff. But like,
I won't even do that. I've had sushi in Japan. It's not a sushi problem. It's a me problem. Like people who are like, I don't understand why you don't like seafood. I was like, I know, it's a me problem. I acknowledge that.
Anyway, as they're eating breakfast, we hear his mom upstairs. She's not doing great. She's sweaty. She's feverish. She's confused.
Yeah, she's like yelling. She's like angry, you know, like I think this is also like, is she coming down with a slow version of the zombie virus kind of a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because it does seem like anger and like that kind of rage thing, right?
I thought about that this time. We will find out that that's not the case.
At all.
We do get a diagnosis for her later.
Yes, not the case at all. So I was way off, but that was my first thought.
Right. But they go up to say hi to her, basically to be like, hey, calm down. It's okay. I'm going to school or whatever. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's like, hey, I'm taking him out to hunt. And she freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, because he's 12.
Yeah, he is 12. Aaron Taylor Johnson, not a great dad in this movie.
No.
I don't know about real life, but in this movie, not a great dad.
I'm sure until we hear otherwise, great dad. But,
right.
Like maybe don't take not even a teenager to go hunt. Which is that what they're going to do? Because Paige,
yes,
it seems like the mission they went over there to go achieve was go get me a Frisbee. Like there's no real purpose for leaving that makes sense to me.
I think the purpose for leaving, and two things. One, even as they're leaving, the people controlling the gate are like, we usually recommend 14 or 15, not 12. But because it's you,
right,
we're letting you go.
Well, and you also see like the townsfolk like lining up and like clapping and like, thank you, like it's going to be amazing, you're awesome. Like building them up because they're going to go do this like risky thing, obviously. Like leaving their safe compound would be scary.
I think the mission is for the kind of like, how in deer season you have to kill deer because they overpopulate?
Yeah.
I think they're culling near the causeway so that infected don't find and cross the causeway.
I mean, sure, they didn't say that at all. They also didn't kill any deer when they had the opportunity to and they were still safe. And we saw like, guys, a shitload of deer. Paige is right. Like you do got to bump a few off so they don't like provide a food trail for the zombies.
I mean, the infected are the deer.
Oh, okay. You mean like the fat zombies?
I mean any of the zombies close enough to the causeway.
Why would you take a 12-year-old to go hunt zombies? Like this guy hates his kid, I think.
I mean, I would argue that it's very possible that this guy's kid gives him painful memories of a time when he existed in a happier space with a wife that is not ill.
Yeah, so he should kill his kid. You're right. So he can move on to Rosie or whatever her name is.
Yeah, he's taking it out on his kid a bit.
Yeah, it's crazy to take a 12-year-old to do this, but whatever. Aaron.
And again, we only get so much of him in this movie because we do move on from this town at a certain point. I also think that he has a toxic masculinity thing of my son has to be the good hunter because I'm the good hunter. And his son is a much more empathetic, kind of softer kind of a person. And he doesn't really accept that. And maybe it's because that reminds him of his mom and that's painful.
Yeah, maybe.
Either way, they lied to the mom and say he's going to school, but then they like walk to the gate. And you're right, it is an event. It seems like they make a celebration of like the first time somebody leaves to go hunting.
They were saying things like thank you and stuff. Like it was a,
yeah.
I honestly thought they were going to go and like get stuff from like a local town or like, like medicine or, something like that would still kind of be usable late. Yeah.
When they go into that one house, he does say, he's like, it's always good to look around to see if there's stuff we can bring back. So I think that's maybe part of it.
Yeah.
And it's just excursions to like find and whatever. I also think they don't do this in the movie, but the rules for when they leave is like, hey, if you leave, you can come back. But if you don't come back, no one can go look for you.
Right.
Right? We're not losing people to go find you because you're probably dead, right?
You're literally on your own from, outside the gate on.
Right. But I do think that if while they were out, they found someone like Eric, the soldier they find later, they could bring him back. And that would be considered like, oh, you saved somebody. So I think that's also maybe part of it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they hang a baby on the front gate for 28 days before they let it in. And so clearly you're allowed to bring people back that you find.
Right.
As long as they, quarantine for 28 days. They that was insane to me that the title card for 28 days later came up and then they showed them collecting the baby off the front gate.
Yes, because I don't think they left them for 28 days. I think the title card is placed in the wrong place.
Yes, 100%. I think that too. I mean, that baby would probably already have starved to death, unfortunately. Like they spend a lot of time with that baby, like a day and a half, and it has never eaten at all.
If they gave it water, it might survive until it got back to the compound. But they need to feed that baby immediatamente the second they get that baby.
Call out the wet nurse. We need a pint.
Which I assume the town probably has, right?
I would be shocked if they didn't. I mean, because yeah, you would still be having, there are kids. Our main character is a kid who was born during this time period.
Right.
He's not 28.
Right. Anyway, but they go out, we learn about the causeway and how the tides, interact with the causeway. You can get there or back, but you have to be conscious.
Yeah, you've got 4 hours of low tide that's the ticking clock that this sets up, right?
Right.
Although it quickly doesn't matter because they can't get back that night.
Well, it's 4 hours day and night.
Yeah, because it happens twice a day.
Yeah, it happens twice a day. So if you miss the late one, you got to get the morning one, and that does become a problem, right?
Yeah.
Now, as they're doing the causeway, I thought a really interesting inclusion was the audio and video of some older British war docs.
I think it was a spoken word poem by Churchill. Like, it sounded very much World War II propaganda film. Yeah.
Yes.
But like from the English side.
Yes. Yeah. And it's one of those things that it's kind of unnerving and eerie, but I did kind of like its inclusion just from an artistic point of view, but it does take a lot of time.
The town kind of looks like the nicest, camping retreat.
Right.
Where no electricity's allowed, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's like a nice, comfortable place. And I think that inclusion does a good job of making you feel like there are still very strict rules here. And they do that because not doing that leads to their not being around anymore, not being able to survive anymore. So I think it does, while showing you these beautiful, fun little, oh, that's a cool way to do a general store kind of place, or, and it looks nice. It looks like they've had peace and prosperity and, safety. It's a way to make them feel not safe,
Yes. Anyway, they go across the causeway and he's kind of guiding him through. He's like, you can walk for miles without seeing anything. It's basically all forest. We might come across villages, but there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Not like what we just came from.
And I really like that there's an area that they walked through that clearly was forest and it's been cut down. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you'll probably be working here one day. This is where we collect all the fuel that we use in the town, because of course, because they're more or less a really small island, they don't have any trees on it. So they have to get all that stuff off the causeway.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of like that it not only world builds, but it also leads me to oh, I guess that answers the question of how do they make heat and all of that stuff,
Right. Well, I also think that gives us a little more context about what his dad's job is, because his dad doesn't work there. I think his dad helps clear the area of zombies so other people can work there.
Well, and probably works, I would imagine, I don't know, we don't see anyone doing this, but I would imagine you would do that as a team of 10 guys go out.
Right.
8 of them are there to cut trees down and 2 of them are there to protect everybody.
Right, right.
And so his dad probably takes the protection shift every now and then. It's that kind of thing,
Right. Anyway, as they're walking, they do see a zombie crawling along the ground. And the zombie is very different from the kind of fast-moving zombies we've seen. But almost the implication is this is a zombie that's been alive for a long time. And because they don't have the normal, I guess, waste management. We had a question of, do zombies poop? Every time we do a zombie movie.
Yeah, I don't think this zombie poops.
Exactly. That is exactly what I think is going on.
Yeah.
But he kind of trains his son to shoot it. He's like, your arrows aren't strong enough. You got to get it in the neck. He shoots. He does get it. But while he gets it, there are other zombies around. So his dad shoots another one and then aims on a third, which looks like a child, and they let that one get away.
Yeah. I mean, there is a little bit of a tense moment here because as he's looking to shoot at that crawling zombie that they can see, there's one crawling up behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is kind of a tense moment there, although they are fine.
Right.
But it does call faster zombies. And I think this is where they set up and see Joe Rogan, right? The first time?
Not quite.
Okay.
We see as the audience because we have some night vision zombies ripping people apart or whatever. But as they turn, Spike sees the deer head.
Yeah, that's what it is.
In the tree. And then in night vision, that's the first time we see the alpha, which the alpha seems to just love ripping spines. That's his favorite thing to do.
It's that kid that became the alpha played Mortal Kombat and was that's going to be my vibe. That fatality vibe, that's me.
Yeah.
And that thought is what makes the rage virus turn into steroids in your blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's your favorite spine rip? I feel like this is a great...
Oh, I love spoiler alert, the Swedish soldier gets spine ripped, and that's my favorite.
That one is great. I didn't mean just in this movie. I meant in general in all movies.
I don't know. I don't really know of many other movies that have full-ass spine rips like this.
I mean, there are plenty. My personal favorite is Undercover Brother.
Yeah. I honestly forgot about that one, but that one is a good one. That one is a very good one. Yeah.
Because there's all this fighting and it seems very stylized and that's not at all what you expect. And then he just gets mad and rips that dude's fucking spine out. Honorable mention, True Blood, where he rips a newscaster's spine out and then takes a sip from it and is like, and now the weather. It's great. Wonderful.
Wow. I missed a lot when I didn't watch True Blood.
Yeah, you did, man. Anyway, they kind of keep moving, but because of the deer, his dad's like, oh, we gotta fucking move. Like,
yeah,
we can't stay here. This is where we see the animal herds moving. So I suspect his dad probably also hunts regular deer, like as animals.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought they might have been doing. Shoot 2 or 3 deer a day, and you're like keeping all the camp in venison for a week or two,
Right.
Yeah, so I thought it was something like that. But they clearly aren't going out to hunt actual deer, but the deer the zombie deer on the ground, which are actual, just big people, more or less.
Right. But they move and they find an old farmhouse and his dad's like, hey, it's always worth checking to see if there's stuff useful.
Yeah.
But as they go in, they see a body tied upside down with Jimmy carved into the chest.
Yeah, because you always sign your art page. This is also where they find the Frisbee.
Yes, this is also where they find the Frisbee.
Yeah.
And the kid doesn't know what it is because
it's the future page. He's already on Frizz D, which is 2 iterations past the Frisbee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Actually, his dad is the one giving the Frizz D to somebody else, and that's the problem, Paige. That's why he's a bad, inattentive dad.
Here's what I'm saying. So Frisbee, the version we had, by Frizz D, we haven't put blades around the sides? Come on. There's zombies around.
Honestly, Paige, I'm on your team for this. You're going to get no rebuttal from me. Yeah.
Right? What are we doing? B to D, no noticeable iterations? Come on.
Lock it up, nerds.
What's your R&D team, Frisbee?
They're still on an RNC team, Paige.
That's part of the problem. D is blades.
We can't set up the premise that down ranking on initial changes any that's so fun. I gotta stop. We gotta get back to it.
Anyway, the body moves because it is still alive. It's somebody who's essentially been purposefully infected.
So Paige, this is what I think is a little dark. They didn't say this in the movie, but I got the vibe that they hung this dude and tortured him because he did something. And part of that torture is, we're going to hang him up. I'm going to carve my name into him and other things because it's not just the name that's in it.
Right.
It's clear that the person's been tortured. You don't do that to a zombie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. No, this wasn't a zombie.
Exactly.
This was a person.
Part of the torture is, okay, now we're going to leave you here and a zombie will eventually find you.
Right.
And that's going to kill you. So have fun with all that. That was really creepy to me. And they do, I think, a very good job showing that. But also when it moves, that scared the shit out of me.
Sure. Yes.
Anyway, yeah. Because it doesn't just move a little bit.
Right.
Motherfucker moves a lot and it's scary. Anyway,
his dad's like, hey, you got to shoot it.
Yeah.
Which now I do think this is something that's part of Spike's arc of learning about what I will call merciful death, because that's what I would describe this as.
I mean, yes.
Right.
I would describe kind of anytime someone kills a zombie that way, which is, I guess, kind of dark, but you're stopping them from being used by a virus a way they would not have wanted to have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So yeah, I agree 100%.
And this is something that Spike will struggle to learn again later with his mom, but that's why he doesn't shoot this zombie. But eventually the zombie falls and is now kind of active in the room and gets it through the head.
Yeah.
So, but he hesitates, which is not good, but
yeah,
he does get it through the head. Meanwhile, we cut back and forth between the school and the town and the celebration of him coming back.
Yeah, they're setting up for it.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's a rite of passage into adulthood kind of a thing.
Right. But they're still out and they see blood on ferns. And this is where his dad's there's another kill here. If you here's where we see the deer, because he finds the intestines and then they find the deer head and the spine.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And this is where his dad's like, oh, we got to fucking move.
Yeah.
And as they're leaving, he looks back over the hill and we see the alpha on the hill and kind of the crowd of infected.
Yeah. And then Joe Rogan yells and everyone goes running. It's like such a great metaphor.
Yeah. They run back into the house, all the way up into the attic. And then literally they're in the attic as the infected are like running around below them. That would be so fucking terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's lucky that like the zombies had left the house before, it's revealed that they are in the attic of that house hiding on its collapsing day.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the day this house is going to collapse and they didn't know that.
Right. They didn't look at the calendar.
Right.
And it is theorized that it's collapsed because of the animals running past it, like the stampede vibrating that house.
Oh, and just like general disrepair, like it's not been lived in for 30 years and it's like weathered and absolutely.
And it seems like the alpha is part of the reason that the animals are running.
I would imagine the zombies subsist on anything they find. We see zombies eating worms.
Right.
So I think deer are also hunted. I don't know that they get infected like humans do, but they are definitely like a food source.
Yeah. But so they sleep for the night in that attic, but the dad wakes up as the house is kind of shaking and about to collapse.
Yeah.
So they get out of the house, but then they have to move. And this is where Spike is like, is the tide low enough? He's like, it's going to have to be.
Yeah.
Basically. Even though they do set up if the tide's not low enough, it will sweep you out to sea. But like they make a run for it.
I mean, it does, I'm sure. But like the depth at which it was when they got there was like shin height, like mid shin height maybe. So like you can still kind of control the current because it's not that fast, I suppose. You know?
Just can't run fast in it.
No, you can't. You have to be very intentional with your steps. Yeah. And I think they do show that because, I mean, it all builds to them like running across the causeway. This is where the dad's like, line up the gates and just start running,
Right.
But make sure your feet are strong in their spot before you move again. So it is like you're going as fast as you can, but you're kind of walking,
Right.
And then you see Joe Rogan just like hoofing it behind him like it ain't shit for him. So even though they had this huge head start, like it's not helping them a ton.
He's closing the gap.
And the dad's like blowing the whistle, yelling for the people in the watchtower to like wake up because we do see them asleep. And they do wake up and they start shooting arrows. And I don't know, I thought it was really silly when they set up the big arrow. I don't know. It's like a
harpoon.
Yeah, it's like a harpoon, more or less. Like they light it on fire to shoot it at somebody that's in water. I'm like, that's not going to, why waste the 15 seconds lighting it on face it just so we can see it? Like, just shoot the guy. Anyway, but they do shoot Joe Rogan and it kills it. And then they open the gate when he like shows the kid's eyes and he's fine,
Right.
And then it cuts to the party and he's like calling his son the Giant Slayer.
Right.
And 8 people know his son did not do anything other than run, which is what all he should have done, yeah.
And they're still cheering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very clear, like, there's a lot of myth making going on by the dad at this moment that he, the son, is not super comfortable with.
No, and feels uncomfortable at the party and kind of leaves. But as he kind of leaves the party, he walks in on his dad and Rosie, where his dad is munching on a person a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, I was like, oh my God, she has cancer because he's cheating. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Like, yeah, 20%.
That's what they say. So I was like, oh man, he's okay, that sucks.
Let's talk about it though. Let's talk about it because obviously this is a shitty thing to do. He's not a good dad. He's not a great guy. We have established that through most of the movie.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think Spike does not understand, that the other adults in his life do understand, is that whatever his mom has is incurable and she is not going to live much longer.
Yeah.
And when they do say they're like, we don't really have any doctors anymore, they're not wrong. The only doctor is Kelso, and he's basically like, I mean, look at my pile of skulls. And you're like, are you a doctor? Right? So like, they're not wrong, but they all understand that she is unfortunately going to die a very painful, ugly death because they have no means to treat her or even make her symptoms palatable.
Yeah.
Right? They have not communicated this to Spike. I feel like in some ways, one of their biggest crimes, if you want to think of it in the movie, is not trusting Spike with harsh realities.
Yeah.
And they think they are. Like they're taking him out, shooting the whatever. but they're not trusting him with the harsh realities at home of like, people die and it's rough. And this is a case where we can't help her. And even if we could get her to wherever, she might still not be able to be helped.
I mean, ultimately, okay, I think the movie positions it as the doctor does help her.
Right. I would agree.
But in the sense that what Spike wants, that doctor can't help her.
No.
Aaron Taylor Johnson probably knows that that doctor can't help her. You know, so like if he did have that information, this whole movie wouldn't exist because I don't think Spike would have gone out there, you know?
Right.
So narratively, it has to kind of be this way, but I agree. Yeah.
Well, and I think the thing that Spike doesn't understand, and it's something that would have not occurred in his lifetime, and so they wouldn't have explained to him, even though his parents grew up on the outside so they would know, medicine has a expiration date.
Yeah.
So even if there was medicine, it is long expired.
Yeah.
It could not help her. No one is developing new medicine. Now, here's the thing that I could not figure out.
Why didn't they just give her colloidal silver? Because it totally works, right? And that's like
Totally
an element or whatever.
She could be blue. No. We know that we will find out later in this movie that there is a quarantine patrol. What I couldn't find out is why people weren't airdropping supplies.
I mean, because that's a low risk way. Like, even if it was by helicopter and you're just like, dropped it
Bye.
in. Yeah. And left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see that as a bad option.
Yeah.
But nobody's doing that.
Nobody's doing that. And that I could not really figure out because I feel like people absolutely would be.
You'd hope that you would be able to get help like that, but I guess it's not France's responsibility or Sweden's responsibility, but I would imagine they would.
Well, okay, here's a dark answer. They're hoping everyone dies off.
I think that would be an incorrect assumption just because that wouldn't get rid of the virus because things like deer exist, you know, and they definitely do eat things that aren't people to subsist. So I would hope, but yeah.
I feel like this is going to sound terrible. If everyone dies, you can bomb it to hell.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
And be like, well, everyone was dead and we didn't kill people.
Dark.
Anyway, but because he sees his dad with Rosie at the party, he goes home and kind of crawls in with his mom. His dad comes home the next morning and is like, what happened? I woke up in a field. And the son's kind of like, yeah, sure you did. Right? Yeah.
A field of pubes, Dad.
A field of pubes, Dad. But he asks him kind of once they're out of the room about Dr. Kelso.
Yeah. Because when he got home that night before he crawls into bed with his mom, the guy who was there to kind of help his mom if she needed anything, kind of let him know that fire they saw was Dr. Kelso and kind of why no one talks to him.
Right. But Spike internalizes this as there is a doctor, you just won't take mom. You're hoping she dies so you can be with Rosie. That's what Spike internalizes this as.
Yes.
Which is not 100% wrong, but it is partially wrong because there is no hope for his mother.
Right. Unfortunately, right. Yeah.
Yeah. But he threatens his dad with a knife to get him away from them. And the dad grabs the knife from him, but then hands it back, which is like the one good thing he does as a dad of like, I know you're mad. I will step away and let you be mad, essentially.
The way his hand shakes when he like grabs it and is like giving it back. I think he does such a great performance as this character. And that's one of those moments I was like, God, that's so good. He's so good.
Right. But Spike sets a fire for a distraction so that all the people from the gate will go attend to the fire. And then he takes his mom out of the gate.
I love this part though, because he's clearly sets the fire. He's a 12-year-old. He runs over. He's like, hey, there's a fire in the storage shed. They told me to come get you. And one of them's like, hey man, I can't leave the gate. I have to stay here. And he's like, that's why they sent me, asshole. Like he's like, no, they told me to take over the gate. And that adult man was like, fuck, that 12-year-old outranks me. So I'm going to go solve this fire situation. I don't know. I thought it was really funny.
It was bonkers. Yeah. But he takes his mom out because he's like, we're going to go see a doctor. They camp in like ruins that night.
Those are the castle. I was like, man, they just have them laying around over there. That's awesome.
This is where the movie really starts to drag. Up until now, it's all been interesting world building. And you're like, I know it's taking a while to like get into it, but all of this is interesting. And so, I don't really care. from now until literally the Bone Temple is almost an hour.
Yeah.
And 90% of it is him and his mom just having conversations in various fields.
Yep.
Which is interesting information and is emotionally very significant, but we did not need that much of it to get the point. We were there already.
I'd argue, and I think they do the sequence because it's scary, and it's like one of the scary tension-building moments within that hour you're talking about. But the area in which they're like sleeping, and there's not really much going on other than that thing crawling up and then it looking like it's going to kill him,
Right.
kill the son, Spike, and it doesn't.
Because he fell asleep during the watch.
Right.
Because he's 12.
Right. So like, we don't really need that. And it's like a good 8 minutes. It feels like it's probably more like 4, but still.
I mean, the cool thing about it is because the mom kills the crawler and then doesn't remember that she did.
Right.
The next morning. She's kind of a badass.
Right. And that is the first of a double beat because we get the fact that she can't remember some things a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously it's because of the cancer that is spread to her brain, like,
right.
But we don't need that to know that, and it would just save so much time. But I'm sure it's in there because it is a horror movie and it's tension and it's buildy.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I don't really like it that much. So like, don't listen to me about this.
Here's the thing. I would actually keep that one, but I would cut a lot of the ones where they're just in the fields and she's like showing him the angel and everything, which I'm sure the angel will be important later and that's why it's here and it'll be a marker for him to kind of navigate.
Yeah, probably.
That's why they put it in. But that scene is like 10 minutes that I'm like, this could be 2 minutes. Like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
But we cut to what looks like SEAL Team 6 or 8 or however many of them there are running through kind of like a causeway and old tunnels, but they're in like full modern military gear, which is how we know they're not from the island.
Right. At first I was like, oh, these are French soldiers,
Right. We do find out they're Swedish. We'll explain why in a sec.
Yeah.
But we do see one of them get their spine ripped, which is great.
Always great when Joe Rogan just rips a spine.
Rips his spine. And then as we see infected kind of running away, because only one of the 8 of them gets out, and that is Eric.
Yeah.
As we see other infected running, we see the pregnant one walking through the stream.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, oh, God, are they birthing new zombies? Which of course they are. We saw a child zombie earlier, right?
Right.
So they would have had to have been.
And the question is, was that child turned as a child?
Are they a full blood zombie or were they like turned zombie?
Yeah. But this is where we stop and see the angel, which is kind of like a structure marker. And the mom is talking about her dad and how much she misses him and seems to describe their escape from the mainland to the island. And so that we get kind of an insight into like what her life was like, what that was like, what this angel represents.
Yeah.
But her nose starts to bleed because she is dying and her brain is riddled with tumors.
Yeah.
An infected comes up behind them. Many people erroneously thought this was Cillian Murphy. It's not. It's just a thin man. And he does shoot it, but there are more in the field and they start to run.
Yeah.
Now, the Alpha is in the mix somewhere, but they run to like a gas station.
Yes.
As is that one lone soldier. But within that gas station, because it's been abandoned for so long, it's like
the fumes from the gas have evaporated into the
like carbon monoxide kind of.
It's not just carbon monoxide, it's literal gas. Like you see them before it gets lit on fire, like having trouble breathing, especially because it's like lighter than air but trapped in a room. You can see like kind of the delineation of where the gas is versus where there's more oxygen. And so like the human people, like the mom and Spike, are kind of ducking below that gas line.
Right.
But the zombies, as they run in, aren't, and they are struggling to breathe too. I thought it was really interesting to see that. I thought that was kind of cool. But that's when Eric opens the top where he is, because he's kind of on the roof of that place.
Right.
And he like looks in and sees Spike and his mom, and he's like trying to shoot to help, and that ignites the gas.
Right.
Which kills pretty much all the zombies, although I do think Eric was like, nailed it.
Right.
And I would have been like, did you guys see how smart I was by lighting the gas, by missing those shots on the zombies that were close to you?
But he did not think it through.
Yeah. He was just shooting the zombies that were like right up on them, but hey, it worked out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they come out, they burst out. He meets them outside. And he's like, what happens now? And they're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, you live here. Do more of them come? And they're like, yeah, eventually. Like, they're everywhere, man. Like,
Yeah.
what? And he's like, oh my God, you have no information. Why didn't I help you? I could have saved bullets. And so he then starts carrying the mom for a while.
Yeah. But this is where we get him showing his fiance and
Right.
Spike being like, oh, does she have like a shellfish allergy?
Well, because he's basically telling them how he is now trapped on the island because he was part of a patrol and their boat sank and they stayed in their lifeboat hoping it wouldn't push them to shore.
Yeah.
Because if you touch shore, you never come home.
Yeah. And I don't think that's like a myth they tell soldiers.
No.
That's a policy of their nation.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way he says it.
Right. And they do kind of like take a break in the field and then he shows the, fiance, what's wrong with her face, the shellfish thing. But this is where he's like, do you have photos? And they're like, some people have old photos because we've had no way to take new photos, right? And like, we don't have radios, we don't have anything. And then obviously the photo of his fiance and then his phone dies. And so it's basically like, well, goodbye to my old life.
Yeah.
Because I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. Although it seems like they have electricity on the island.
They might, but did they have an iPhone 17, whatever, or like an iPhone 20 or whatever this would be?
No, but if he had like a charger that he could plug in, I guess, but like,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, his mom keeps calling Spike a dad, and I do think it's wild that Eric is like, I expect there to be a fair amount of inbreeding given the way you live, but that seems unlikely. So what's her deal?
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
Right? And he basically points out the, fire in the distance of like, we're going to the doctor. It's over that way. She's confused.
Yeah.
And they start walking. He's like, she can walk because he's been carrying her for a while.
Yeah.
But they start walking towards it and he starts asking about the alpha. And this is the only information we really get about the alpha is that for some people, the virus works like steroids.
Yeah. So it takes like multiple arrows or multiple shots to take them down. Like it's not, they're invulnerable, but they're way stronger than a regular zombie. And the Swedes call them berserkers because they have the whole Viking myth,
Right.
which I love. Not myth, but like that was an actual thing, So like they have that
Right.
storytelling part of it.
But also the opposite of steroids because steroids would typically make your balls and stuff small.
Oh, I definitely think his dick's got some rage in it. Like it definitely grew.
Right.
It was the
right.
opposite of steroids on it. Yeah.
The veins. Yeah. Veins. Anyway, they keep walking. They wander past the train where they hear the screaming. His mom wanders off and walks into the train. A bunch of the rats leave and she sees an infected pregnant woman giving birth. And the pregnant woman doesn't attack because she's in a lot of pain. But she does have goofy Austin Powers prosthetic teeth that like, ooh, man.
That is true.
On a second watch, had me cackling.
I like that even in the zombie apocalypse, like the dad showed up for the birth. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that alpha zombie is there.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan showed up. You know what I'm saying?
He showed up.
I liked
it.
He
came back with the cigarettes. But so they go hand to hand. She delivers the baby, cuts the umbilical cord. The infected passes out, probably from loss of blood.
Yeah.
But they rinse the baby. They realize the baby is not infected.
Which is insane. And I think they explain it in a believable way.
They do explain it.
But I was so blown away that baby was not infected. I was like, oh shit, this complicates things.
It does.
And the movie does not address at all how it would complicate things, but it is a very real ticking clock they do not address.
That, but then a few other things. We'll talk about it more when the doctor kind of explains how that could have even happened, right?
Well, I mean, even just the blood that was on the baby's like forehead, they do a very quick and good job of explaining they got to wipe that away.
Yeah.
So I think that all of it was believable, but the fact that I thought they were setting up, oh my God, now we have to kill a zombie baby,
Oh, yeah.
Which would have been terrible to see,
Right.
But the fact that baby is, I don't want to say real, but like not infected and has a chance of growing up and not being violent and all that stuff.
Has a worse implication, by the way.
No, I know. We got 8 hours though to get back. Like we have very little time to get all the way back to where we started from 2 days ago.
Right.
Because that baby will die if we don't,
Right.
But he's just like, let's still just go. We're going to go and roll the dice with the doctor. See what's up there.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay, here's a dark implication about this, though. If uninfected babies can be regularly and by regularly, I mean consistently and often born from infected, then that means there are tons of dead babies just around.
Yes. Oh my God.
Or they get infected. And that's how we get the children.
But still, they would be dead babies.
Right.
Oh, and we would have like crawling babies that were zombies, which,
yeah.
Oh man, if we don't get a shot of just somebody with a machine gun mowing down like 100 zombie babies crawling towards them, Danny Boyle is a coward.
I mean,
I'll say it right now.
Who's to say what'll happen?
I hope that doesn't happen. For the record, I don't want to see that shit, but that's a funny implication of what you just said.
Right? Either way, the mom wakes up. Eric shoots her, asks questions later.
Well, I mean, it is a zombie. And this is where...
Right.
And I kind of get what happens to Eric because the dad went out, got cigarettes, realized that he wanted to stay and be a supportive father. So he showed up to the birth of the child.
Right.
Only to finally witness someone stealing his baby and the guy, the soldier, just shot his zombie wife.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why he took Eric's skull. Like, that made sense to me.
Yeah, just snatched that skull.
Yeah.
Just gone.
He ripped it off like it was Mortal Kombat.
Ripped it off. But now, baby, mom, Spike go running. And thankfully, Dr. Kelso, they were close enough. So it's not really 2 days away. It's like a 1 day walk away. It just looks way farther every time we see it. But Dr. Kelso shoots the alpha with essentially like a tranquilizer.
It's more or less a blow dart. But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a tranquilizer kind of mix that he's perfected over the 30 years or so, right?
Right. And he does say, he's like, this is Samson. This is an alpha who's lived in the area for 3 years now, because he's basically the Jane Goodall for zombies. And he then walks them to the bone temple.
He's also covered in iodine.
Yes, because it kills the infection, apparently.
Well, yeah, which
Yeah.
that makes sense to me, right?
Yeah.
He's a doctor. He would know that. He would probably know where iodine exists and he could go steal a bunch. Not steal, but like, I'll say reappropriate. Like those hospitals don't exist anymore.
Right.
But he would know how to get a bunch of it. So he probably, and this is another reason why we've got to find out where he actually lives in the next one if it's about him.
Right.
Because he cannot live here. Like, he would need so many supplies.
There's nowhere to store anything. Like, he would need supplies.
Or to make that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's not like a workbench. Anyway, but he clearly has found a way to survive out here and be fine, but it's different than the other community, you know? And I kind of like that, though.
Right. And he does take Eric's skull because he's going to add it to the bone temple. And this is where he explains his entire kind of, worldview of memento mori, of remember that you must die and death is normal. It's something that everyone has. It happens to everybody. That doesn't mean that we forget the people that lived and we memorialize them as we can, but ultimately remember that we all have to die at some point.
Yeah, that's how I knew that we were definitely walking Spike's mom to her death.
Yeah.
And that it was ultimately going to be a good thing. But it was like what she had, he can't cure.
Right.
And that this is going to be her skull. And I knew all of this was going to play out, which also meant I knew I was going to start crying.
Oh yeah, it's super sad.
Yeah.
But this is because he's like, did you bring the baby? Is that why you came to see me? Because we'll need to find a way to feed her. And we skippity skip yada, yada, yada around whatever they do with that baby for the next 12 hours or so.
Yeah.
Where maybe they found a way to feed something, water, who knows, the movie does not address it.
Right.
But one of the things he does say is, a newborn from an infected, I thought that might happen. The magic of the placenta. So that the implication being that if you are infected and you get pregnant, the placenta cleanses the blood of the infected toxins, and that's how you have an uninfected baby.
Yes. That is what they set up, at least. Yes.
Which is possible because people have babies now that may have hepatitis or any number of things, and then the baby might not have it. It is a toss-up as to what would happen, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes they get infected, sometimes they don't. But that's what's happening here. But that also, I think, has implications for what the doctor might do in the future. Because if you know...
Do you think he's just force feeding people placenta? Like zombies? Like he's force feeding zombies placenta?
Maybe.
Or he's trying to find a cure through something like that. Maybe like a blood transfusion kind of a thing that does similar things to the placenta. I mean, that would be cool.
Right.
And I definitely think he's out there for scientific style reasons. I don't think he's out there to build a bone temple. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the Bone Temple is his church.
Yes.
And we haven't seen his home and work yet.
Exactly. Yeah. He spends 8 hours of his week at Bone Church.
Right.
At least. And the rest of his time, we have no idea what he's doing. And it's probably a little dark.
Right. Or a little ethically questionable. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
But he does examine the mom and he's like, hey, I'm not sure if the tumors started under your arms and breasts and metastasized to your brain or the other way around. But either way, you unfortunately are past the point that anyone could treat with surgery or medication, etc.
Yeah.
And ultimately you will die, and you could basically die of this or you could die a peaceful death.
Yeah, I do think they show that she chooses that option before he does
100%.
like the doctor does anything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think the doctor was fine to let them leave if they chose to leave with that knowledge, you know?
Right. He does leave it up to her. And it's one of those things where they struggle to get Spike to understand.
Yeah.
Because they do drug him and give him the baby. And I was like, don't give someone that's going to pass out a baby.
I know,
like,
right?
You have to hold it. Like, support the neck.
Let me drug this child and then strap a child to them.
Right. But they give the speech that's like, hey, we all have to die, but some kinds of death are better than others. So, like, let her choose it. But also, we know you're not going to because you're a child. So, it's like,
yeah, they do drug him, so he makes the right choice. But I do, and I did make fun of this earlier, I wish they didn't drug him and had the same conversation, you know?
Sure. But he wakes up and not only is she dead, but he's already processed her skull. So, like, how long was that kid out? It takes a while to process a skull.
This movie makes it seem like it's like, oh, I'm just going to throw it in my...
an hour at 350.
I'm going to throw it in the Traeger, and in 4 hours, we're going to come back to your mom's clean skull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I put it in with some chocolate chip cookies. 45 minutes, we're going to have a good time. Yeah, it's bonkers.
You can't tell me this beef jerky doesn't taste like your mom a little bit, right? Like,
oh, no.
She was in there. It's a co-batch. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. Also, we smoked some cheese. But he gives him the skull and is like, pick the best place. So then, of course, Spike climbs to the top of the bone tower.
Because that's the best place to put your mom's head.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have the whole movie about how much this kid loves his mom and then he being given the choice to place his mother's skull anywhere, chooses just like, I'm going to start a new, let's just say, like, level on the ground here.
Right.
Like, of course he's climbing to the top of that tower. You know what I'm saying? And he does. He crushes it.
Top of the bone tower.
Yeah. As the sun comes up, it's beautiful. I cried this whole time.
Of course. But as the sun comes up, we also see that the alpha is up and awake and ready to rage through the bone temple.
Sometimes it happens in the morning, Paige. Like, you can't control it all the time. And yeah, he's up. You know what I'm saying? Joe Rogan's ready to go.
Yeah, so they climb into that little, like, trap door. He tries to rip off the doctor's skull, but Spike stabs him in the arm with another tranq dart.
Yeah.
So he kind of releases him.
He like falls asleep. His arms are still hanging into the thing when we leave that scene.
How are they going to get out? He's asleep on top of the grate.
Well, he wasn't on top of the grate. That's how they get around that, because he shakes the grate and can't get the grate to move. And so they I guess he walked back further. So he's still, I guess, on the ground above them.
Right.
But he punches through the ground and grabs the doctor. So he's not over the grate.
Okay.
But not that really matters. But that's how they get out.
Yeah. So they get out. But this is where we get the 28 days later title card, which is placed completely wrong, because it implies that it has taken him 28 days to get that baby back, and that baby would have absolutely died.
Yeah.
But he gets the baby home in a shopping basket. In my headcanon, 2 to 3 days after the baby was born, that baby is back at the town.
I think it has to be that way.
Yeah.
And it has to be much faster if the doctor doesn't have a way to feed that baby. You know, it may have been like, hey, we got to take that baby right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I would buy that the doctor's for a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour walk from the town.
Right.
You know, so I think they're close enough that they could get there kind of quickly, but it has to be like a now kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it took them longer to get there because they had the mom.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he drops the baby off with a letter, and the letter's basically like, I'm not coming home, Dad.
Yeah.
Take this fucking baby, Dad. I named her after Mom, you asshole.
I did kind of love that he was like, hey, I know you really wanted Mom dead and me dead so that you could move on with your new girlfriend or whatever. But now here's a lifelong reminder of the fact that your wife, my mother, is dead and I'm not coming home anymore. Bye.
Bye. But then we get some shots of him basically out. Now, the second Aaron Taylor Johnson reads that letter, he goes running to go basically after him, which again, you can't do, right? Because you're not supposed to rescue people.
Yes, that is against the rules.
He basically runs out onto the causeway and is like, no! And then we cut to this kid shooting zombies, surviving off the land.
Yeah, he's cooking up a fish and then the zombies start chasing him.
Right.
So he kills one. We actually see one get diverted by the fish, which I thought was funny because it's like 3 of them chasing him. He shoots one and starts to run because it's too many to like reload and take them all out. And then one just goes to the fish and the other one takes him. And so he shoots that one. And that's what gives him a little bit more time to continue running to where he gets like stuck against that, like, it's like a big rock slide in the road, more or less. And I think it's there so that Jimmy can kill, obviously, zombies, but also like just travelers.
Trap people.
But they see this kid who's like an image of what they were, you know, like, hey, that was us 12 years ago or whatever. And so Jimmy kind of takes a shine immediately. So they're like, hey, do you mind if we step in and help you out? And he's really kind and has, I think, one of the best early 90s like rap intros from a music standpoint, which makes sense too because of like when it happened, where pop culture was. And of course, that would not really have moved on with the rest of the world. So they're still stuck there. Like, it makes sense. It's just such a very silly ending to the movie. But they go out and save Spike, and then we learn, oh, you're Jimmy. That's the cross now upside down that you got from your dad before he like legit went crazy right before getting eaten by zombies. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Oh, I guess we got to go.
And that's the movie.
I'm used to you finishing out what happens, and I just kind of told everything there as I was kind of making fun of Jimmy. But yeah. Paige, having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about 28 years later?
I love the world building, and I'm very excited for the next one. I'm excited to see where they take it.
Me too, honestly. I really love the world building as well, and I really kind of dug the emotional core of the movie just because I kind of love Spike and his mom's relationship and all of that. But because of that, it's really sad. That's why I made that 28 tears later joke, because I cried a lot in this movie. But it does make me really want to see the next 2. And I'm excited that they're going to come quicker than like these have come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like the best zombie movies are really just people movies.
Yeah, I think so too.
About the emotions and trials of people in extraordinary situations. And I feel like this kind of goes at that. Do I feel like you could cut 20 to 40 minutes out of it? Yes. But I do love all the world building, and it does make me excited for the next one. So I'll give it a pass.
Yeah. Well, Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
I do.
Well, here it is with your fun facts.
Zombie fun facts. In the original 28 Days Later, a group of children sing the hymn, Abide With Me. This song also plays in the background as Jimmy discovers his dead parents in this movie.
Ah, okay.
The poem Boots that is featured in this movie was originally written by Rudyard Kipling, and it was read by the actor Taylor Holmes in 1915. The poem's repetitive rhythm imagines the march of British soldiers during the Boer War, and this recording of the poem is used by the U.S. military to simulate the psychological distress of being held captive.
Yeah, okay.
Which makes sense.
I mean, it does give that vibe.
It is unsettling.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, Eric refers to the Alphas as berserkers. It is a reference to the Scandinavian warriors who were said to fight in trance-like fits of fury.
Yeah.
Now, originally, this was supposed to be 28 months later, continuing with the movie's timeline set title motif. However, after so much time had passed since 2007, when we did 28 weeks later, it was deemed more appropriate to name the film 28 years later and to examine a much later version of this world.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would, however, take I guess kind of a prequel that just had a story that was 28 months after it. And I'd love to see what the world was like then, you know, like anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Let me pitch to you. That should be a TV show.
I would watch that too. Yeah. I mean, if it was like.
It could be Last of Us.
Yeah. So if it was like The Last of Us, yeah. I'd watch that.
Yeah. So Cillian Murphy, whose character did survive the events of 28 Days Later, in an alternate ending, and that isn't quite the movie, but it is implied that he survives. He is planned to return in one of the sequels, but people mistook that one zombie that is very, very emaciated. That is actually an art dealer named Angus Neal, who was cast as essentially an extra and had to come forward and be like, that's me, not Cillian Murphy. Director Danny Boyle came out and said, I showed my girlfriend the trailer and she said, people are going to think that's Killian. And I said, don't be silly. And I ignored her. So I've eaten a bit of humble pie ever since.
I kind of love that he admitted that too. Like,
yeah.
He's like, thanks a lot, everyone, for saying that because you proved my girlfriend right.
So Alex Garland admits that the plot of this film is heavily influenced by a 1969 film called Kess. It's a film about a teenage boy who's ignored and abused at home by his indifferent mother and older brother. And then he spends his time training his pet kestrel falcon, who he names Kess, with the help of one of his teachers. He says it's a very unexpected thing to rip off in a zombie movie, but I think this is where we get the idea of Spike kind of going off on his own.
Yeah.
When this was released, the sequel, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, had already been shot. It does come out this year. Trailers are already out. I'm actually very excited for it.
Yeah, very cool.
Now, back to 28 months later, Alex Garland was not part of mapping out 28 months later. Danny Boyle mapped it out, but Alex Garland had said in 2010 that the rights were frozen between a group of people who no longer talk to one another, and so 28 months later will never happen unless those people start talking to each other once again. There was no script, as far as I'm aware. Now, over the years, Boyle and Garland finally announced in 2019 that they were both working on the project again, confirming it then in 2023, and then producing it in 2024 and 2025, when producer Andrew McDonald managed to buy the rights to the first film back from Searchlight Pictures, which he then sold to Sony Pictures under the condition that they agreed to fund the sequel.
Nice.
Danny Boyle did give Alex Garland the choice to direct, as he is now a very accomplished director in his own right. But Alex Garland said that he wanted to focus on writing after directing Civil War and Warfare nearly back to back.
Yeah.
Which I think was the right choice, to be honest, because Danny Boyle is incredibly talented as well. So, like, the two of them together is great.
Yeah, I like them both as directors, but yeah, I think that that was the right call too.
Yeah.
It also maintains, I think, the same kind of feel and vibe of the original ones.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. During the scene when Jamie takes Spike out to the mainland for the first time, while that poem Boots is being played, not only is it war footage, but it's also black and white footage from 28 weeks later, among the other archive footage. Now, the characters look at the 1998 sculpture Angel of the North and claim that it will stand forever. It's made of Corten weathering steel, which lasts a long time, but will need to be repaired by the end of the 21st century as the weld points and other parts of the angel eventually rust. So that is a real thing you can go see.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The genitals in the film were simulated through photorealistic prosthetics. This is because Alfie Williams, who plays Spike, was only 13 years old during filming. And so they didn't want to expose anyone's full frontal nudity or genitals to him while allowing him to basically film the scenes.
So all the dicks are CG?
No, they're all prosthetics. It's like people wear them over their genitals. So you're seeing genitals over someone's actual genital.
Can I ask functionally what's the difference?
I would agree with you.
Yeah, like, okay. I mean, I do think, yes, there is a difference.
Yeah, sure.
And I think this is maybe an area we should not talk a lot about, but like, I don't know, that seems very the same to me on some level.
It's semantics, I think, honestly, at that point.
And let me just say, I'm not advocating on the side of why not just let this dude show this child his dick, to be clear.
Right. No, I'm advocating on the side of, did we need the genitals?
Right. Yeah. I want to reference my only and first note for this movie, pants.
Right. And
you listen, we can do the UK version of pants. That would still be appropriate.
Right. Sure. Yes. I feel kind of similar to like whenever people are underage, but they're filming a scene in a strip club and they're like, well, we put a pillow between them. And I'm like, that is... I mean, really, what's the difference?
Right?
I mean, at that point, we're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
But essentially, they were like wearable. Imagine if people made panties with a giant fake dick on them. It's like that.
That your dick goes in.
Yeah, so that we can't see your dick.
Right. And then, man, I feel bad for the actor, honestly. I definitely wouldn't want to do whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Well, okay. Because I see it from both sides, like, especially if you're like an intimacy coordinator who's like brought in to think about this.
Paige, you see it from way more than two sides in this movie. That's the problem.
I know. But like, if I'm that actor, I don't want a kid looking at my dick.
That's exactly what I'm
Right?
saying too. Yes.
So it's just as much for them as it is for the kid.
Just CG the dicks is what I'm saying. At least then you can get the heft right. It's not clear that what is flopping around is half a dick because of the way Paige, it bends in places. Your dick would not bend if it was just a dick. But because it's like half a dick in a dick sleeve, the half of dick sleeve that is full does not bend like the front half of unfull dick sleeve. Guys, I did some research because I love you into this. And this is what I'm coming back with. Just CG the dicks. It's better on the day. It's better in the final edit. Trust me. CG the dicks.
Anyway, there is a shot of brief footage of medieval archers intercut into the film with live action. That's from Laurence Olivier's film adaptation of Shakespeare's Henry V.
My Kingdom for a Horse, Paige.
Now, featured in this movie is the world-famous sycamore gap tree. It's visible in 2 scenes. For those of you who are unaware, the 120-year-old sycamore tree sat next to Hadrian's Wall near Cragloch in Northumberland, England, standing in a dramatic dip in the landscape created by glacial meltwater. It was one of the country's most photographed trees and an emblem for the northeast of England, and its nickname is derived from being the tree featured prominently in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Oh, that's the one that just recently got cut down.
It just got cut down.
Yeah, it was heartbreak. I saw that in the news. I was like, what?
Yeah, this was one of the essentially last times it's on film. And then in some places where they had to do reshoots, they had to do digital recreation because a lot of the filming took place after the tree was felled. It was illegally cut down September 28, 2023. So they hadn't done any of their principal photography, just preliminary shots. So all of the principal photography that's in the movie is a digital recreation.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was cut down September 28th, 2023. And it was an act of public vandalism. 2 men from Cumbria, aged 38 and 31, were arrested and charged. And they valued the tree at £622,191.
And that's probably just for the tree and not like...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because trees are crazy expensive.
Trees are crazy expensive. And they also valued just the damage at £1,144. So those 2 men were sentenced to 4 years and 3 months in prison, with their earliest possible parole date being January 30th, 2028, by which time all of this trilogy will be out.
All I have to say about that is good.
Right? Both Aaron Taylor Johnson and Alfie Williams learned how to use a bow and arrow for the film.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they definitely had to, and because they're shooting a lot.
Yeah.
And they're good. They're good. You can clear they've had training, or it's clear they've had training.
Alfie Williams was allegedly the better at it of the 2, which I think is pretty fun.
That is kind of funny.
This is 18 years after 28 weeks later, if you're curious. And I'll end on this one. We talked a little bit about 28 months later. One of the pitches, it never made it to full script stage, but one of the pitches was that the rage virus had been weaponized by a military force, prompting a team of Chinese special forces to search for the original laboratory where the virus was developed in order to create a vaccine.
I mean, I like that premise for a movie, though.
I don't hate it. It's a little Wayland Yutani, and that's your fun fact.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. So what do you think the production budget was for 28 years later, of course, last year?
I think this cost like $80 million.
You're close, but it was $60 million.
Oh,
which
wow,
doesn't
good for
surprise
them.
me. I think Danny Boyle knows how to make movies on the cheap.
Yeah.
Just because of the way he kind of grew up in his filmmaking career. So I'm not surprised we got a movie that looks this great for $60 million, but It's still impressive. Now, this movie came out on June 20th last year. It was number 2 the week it came out. It was beat by How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, I do like that movie.
I think it was the live action version, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, 28 years later, and then number 3 that week was Ilio. Number 4 was Lilo and Stitch. And number 5 was Mission Impossible M- The Final Reckoning. So what do you think 28 years later brought in its opening weekend?
I bet opening weekend this still brings in at least $30 million.
Oh, Paige, you would win both Showcase Showdowns. It literally is $30 million, $2,966.
Boom!
You were under $3,000 away from being exactly right. That was an amazing guess.
Yes.
The number 1 movie that week only made $36 million, which is really good, but that's how close it was. The third place movie was $10 million lower than 28 years later. So those are the 2 kind of standouts that week. its second week and third week, it was 5th in the theaters. Then in its 4th week, it fell to 6th. And then in its 5th week, it was 10th. And then was never again in the top 10, but had a 7-week run. So, Paige, what do you think it brought in domestically? And when I say domestically, no, I mean the U.S., even though this was made by UK people. And we'll talk about international here in a second. So what do you think it made domestically in the U.S.?
I bet it made $98 million.
It's close. Okay, so it was actually $70.4 million at the box office domestically. Now, it did bring in $79.5 million internationally. So the total box office haul for this movie was actually $150 million.
Nice.
Again, on a $60 million budget, they definitely made their money back. They're definitely going to make more of these, which honestly makes me happy because there are pretty good character movies with a zombie function, which I like.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Anyway, that's your box office. Paige, do you want to hit us with a scary scale?
Sure. Our scary scale is a scale of how scared we were when we watched the movie today, with 1 being Ghostbusters and 10 being Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Todd.
I'm going to give it a 3. There were a few moments. I think the biggest one was when that guy in the hanging upside down moves the first time.
Yeah.
But there were a few moments that like legit scared me, but it's not super scary. It's more sad, honestly. I would call this a more sad than scary horror movie.
Yeah, I'm going to give it maybe a 2,
Yeah,
just
that's
because
fair.
of some of the body horror and like, people jump at you a bit. But overall, I was way too invested in like the world building to get too scared. So yeah, it's a 2 for me.
And once you realize that this is a movie where the point is taking the mom to go die,
Right.
they can't just like kill the mom by a zombie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't get close to the bone temple and then the mom get killed and then be like, all right, well, I guess we're done here, so let's just go back, because then they never meet the doctor or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, so it kind of like protects the core group of people,
Right.
So you're not, and I don't really give a shit about Eric, like he's a soldier.
Right, exactly.
So this week, Paige, you made us watch 28 Years Later. Next week, it's the listeners' turn to make us pick, and they chose out of the following movies: Companion, The Long Walk, The Ugly Sister, and Together. They chose The Long Walk for us to do next week. So that's your homework. Watch Stephen King's The Long Walk as a movie that came out last year and then report back for that episode.
Do you have any reviews for us, Todd?
I do. This week, I'm going to read a Spotify comment from our most recent The Conjuring Last Rites episode. And this one's from Allie. They say, both of y'all are pretty much spot on about confirmation. Also, yes, Todd, it's very weird to get a terrifying mirror for what is essentially your catechism graduation.
Right?
So, yeah, I think that checks out. That is to what I expected it to be. Yeah. So, Allie, thank you so much for confirming that. And if you want to have me read your Spotify comment or 5-star Apple review, leave us one of those things and I'll do just that. So guys, if you like this show but want to hear Paige and I talk about romantic comedies or just regular romantic movies, check out our other podcast. Some might call it a sister podcast called Romancing the Pod, where we do just that weekly. It's a lot like this show, but for romance and romantic comedies, because Paige doesn't like them. So we make her watch them, just like you guys make me watch horror over here. But if you want to follow me, I am at Todd J. Awesome on all the social media. Paige is at Rampage Wesley on Instagram?
Yes, and TikTok.
And just Paige Wesley on Twitter, because you got that before some CEO lady and she wanted it, but you wouldn't give it back, and I respect you for that.
Refuse.
Also, Paige
Suck it, other Paige Wesley.
Paige is also on another podcast. It's great. You should check it out. It's called Cult Podcast with Armando Torres, who is a wonderful person. And guys, we got a P.O. box. So if you want to send us some love letters or whatever you might send to a P.O. box, it's actually not a P.O. box. It's like a regular street address. It's pretty awesome. It's 6688 Nolensville Road, number 108-34, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027. So send us some stuff. And if you want to support this show, go to Patreon at patreon.com/horrorvirgin, where there are a lot of great levels and a lot of great things. We do the Patreon shout outs at the beginning of every episode. We do listener requests, stuff like that, bonus episodes. So you'll be getting all of that content, plus episodes a day early with no ads, and who doesn't love that? So sign up for the Patreon and get a lot of great stuff.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm your horror virgin, Todd.
Keep it ooky spooky.
Yeah, have an amazing week, guys. Bye! I want to high five that angel, nerds.